The Galactic Council's chamber was vast beyond imagination. It stretched higher than the tallest buildings on any known planet, and its walls shimmered with the colors of 1,000 suns. The Council, the most powerful assembly in the galaxy, gathered to discuss urgent matters, trade disputes, resource conflicts, and the growing influence of a curious species called humans. Humans were young in galactic terms. They had only recently begun traveling between stars, yet their presence was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Some council members whispered in quiet tones, calling humans reckless and dangerous. Others simply ignored them, thinking their small ships and limited colonies posed no threat. At the front of the chamber, Councillor Thryn, a tall, insect-like alien with translucent wings that glittered under the chamber lights, rose to speak. His voice carried authority, echoing through the hall. "The humans are unlike any species we have encountered," Thryn said, his multifaceted eyes scanning the audience. "They are unpredictable, yes. They are violent when necessary, yes. But there is something more. They adapt. They endure. They innovate in ways we cannot fully understand. I warn you, dismissing them could bring consequences none of us are prepared to face." A low murmur spread through the chamber. Many species had dealt with unpredictable civilizations before. Usually the result was simple: contain, control, or eliminate. Yet humans did not fit into any category. Councillor Virek, a reptilian diplomat with smooth emerald scales, hissed softly. "You exaggerate, Thryn. Humans are young. They are weak compared to our fleets, our technologies. We have seen no reason to fear them. Your warning is unnecessary." Other council members nodded in agreement. The humans' colonies were small, scattered, and poorly defended. Their technology, while promising, was primitive compared to the advanced civilizations that dominated the council. Thryn's wings fluttered in irritation. "You mistake their size for weakness. You mistake their youth for ignorance. Humans are survivors. They have faced catastrophes on their home planet that would have ended countless other species. Their ingenuity is unmatched. If we ignore them, we will not see the consequences until it is too late." A holographic map of the galaxy appeared in the center of the chamber. Small dots glowed, representing human colonies spreading across the Milky Way. Most were on distant, harsh planets that other species had long abandoned. Humans thrived in these worlds, building cities and colonies where no one else could. "Look at them," Thryn said, his voice rising slightly. "They do not settle where it is easy. They go where others fail. They create life in barren lands. They innovate when survival is at stake. They will not be contained by walls, treaties, or threats. Every attempt to control them will fail, and every dismissal of their potential is a risk we cannot afford." The chamber remained silent. Some council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats while others whispered to one another. They had faced countless species, each with its own strengths and dangers. None had ever displayed the combination of resilience, intelligence, and unpredictability that humans showed. Finally, Councillor Virek leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "And what exactly do you propose, Thryn? That we treat humans as equals? That we bend our policies for a species that cannot even defend its own colonies effectively? I see no merit in your warnings." Thryn's antennae twitched. "I do not ask for bending policies, Virek. I ask for caution. Observe them closely. Study them. Their expansion is fast and their impact is subtle. By the time their true strength is clear, it may be too late for any of us to respond." The debate continued for hours. Some council members, swayed by Thryn's words, quietly agreed. But the majority remained unconvinced. They saw humans as a curiosity, a minor annoyance at worst, and a species too small to challenge the galaxy's established powers. As the council meeting ended, humans remained unaware of the discussion. On a distant planet called Aurora 7, a team of human explorers celebrated the successful completion of a new colony. The planet was harsh, with rocky mountains, freezing winds, and rare oxygen pockets, but humans had adapted. They built shelters that could withstand the storms and systems to recycle water and air efficiently. Among the explorers was Captain Ilara Quinn, a strong and determined leader. She walked through the colony's central plaza, observing the settlers as they worked. Children played under the artificial sunlight of the colony dome, while scientists tested new energy generators. Humans had come far from Earth, yet they were only beginning to understand the universe around them. Ilara smiled at the sight of a young engineer, Marco Lin, adjusting the delicate solar panels on the edge of the dome. "Careful there, Marco," she called. "Those panels cost more than your ship," Marco laughed. "They're fine, Captain. Just like the humans who built them." Ilara shook her head but smiled. Humans were relentless, she thought. They never gave up no matter the challenge. And perhaps that was why, even without realizing it, they were already making their mark on the galaxy. Back in orbit, the colony's small fleet of ships monitored nearby star systems. Humans were explorers by nature. They mapped planets, scanned for resources, and recorded data about alien life. Some species ignored them, some mocked them, but humans paid little attention. Their curiosity and drive to survive were far stronger than fear or caution. Meanwhile, news of human activity slowly reached other civilizations. Trade networks noted that humans were becoming more skilled at navigating difficult environments. Pirates found that humans were clever defenders, often turning traps against them. Scholars debated whether humans were a species to study or a threat to watch. Despite Thrin's warning, most alien civilizations continued with business as usual. Humans, in their typical fashion, remained unaware of the Council's concerns. They continued exploring, trading, and building, their actions quietly shaping the future of the galaxy. On Aurora 7, Ilara and her team discovered an unusual energy signature deep within a mountain range. It pulsed with a rhythm unlike any known technology. Curious and cautious, they sent a small drone to investigate. The drone returned with astonishing readings, a naturally occurring crystal that generated massive energy without any fuel. "This could change everything," Marco said, staring at the holographic data. "If we can harness this safely, we could power entire colonies without relying on the old reactors." Ilara nodded. "This is exactly why humans explore. We don't just survive. We improve. We take what's impossible and make it possible." Unbeknownst to them, distant eyes watched. A fleet of alien ships sent by a council member who still distrusted humans observed the colony from afar. They noted the energy signature, the humans' activity, and their rapid progress. Orders were unclear, but the observers felt unease. Something about humans did not fit the pattern. Back at the Galactic Council, Thrin's warnings were slowly fading from memory. The other members had returned to their worlds, dismissing the idea that humans posed a significant threat. Yet somewhere deep in the chamber, a small record remained. Humans, resilient, clever, and unpredictable. And that was all humans needed. Unaware, unstoppable, and entirely human, they continued their work, building, exploring, and thriving in places no one else could. The galaxy, full of prideful species, would soon learn that warnings ignored can become lessons learned in the most difficult way. The first part of the story ends with humans standing under Aurora 7's twin suns, gazing at the stars. Each sun reflected in their eyes a symbol of hope, determination, and the beginning of a journey that no warning could stop. Somewhere in the vast darkness unknown to humans, the first threads of consequence began to form. The human colonies were growing faster than anyone had anticipated. Aurora 7 had become a hub of activity. Trade ships traveled between human settlements, while exploration vessels scanned nearby star systems for new planets to colonize. Humans were resilient, clever, and tireless, traits that set them apart from many alien civilizations that considered themselves far more advanced. Captain Ilara Quinn stood on the observation deck of Horizon Station, the largest human outpost in the system. She watched as ships glided gracefully between planets, their engines leaving soft trails of light in the void. Humans had learned to survive in harsh conditions, from freezing mountains to toxic atmospheres, and now they were pushing further, testing limits that other species would not dare touch. "Captain, we're receiving a communication from the Glorvan fleet near the southern sector," said Lieutenant Rylan, a young human officer with sharp instincts and a quick mind. "They're requesting that we leave the system immediately." Ilara frowned. The Glorvan were a reptilian species known for their strict control over territory. They were powerful, prideful, and often aggressive toward newcomers. Humans had managed to avoid confrontation until now, but it seemed the Council's warnings about human expansion had reached certain factions. "Put it on screen," Ilara ordered. The holographic projection flickered to life,
showing the Glorvan Admiral, Admiral Kresak,
towering and covered in thick green scales. His voice was deep, resonant, and full of authority. "You humans have no right to occupy this sector. Kresak said. Leave immediately or face the consequences. Your species is small and weak. We will not hesitate to remove you by force. Alara stood tall. We are not looking for conflict, Admiral, she said firmly. We are explorers, settlers, and traders. We have the right to live where resources are available and where no other species is harmed. Kresak's eyes narrowed. Rights mean nothing without power. Leave or be destroyed. The communication ended abruptly. Horizon Station's crew exchanged nervous glances. They were outnumbered, yes, but humans had something others did not. Ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. Prepare the defense systems, Alara ordered, but also prepare a diplomatic response. We need to show them humans are not to be underestimated. In the following days, humans began fortifying their colonies while simultaneously sending emissaries to open negotiations. Unlike many species, humans did not rely solely on strength. They relied on clever strategies, alliances, and adaptability. They knew that brute force alone could not secure survival in a galaxy filled with giants. Meanwhile, scouts reported that the Glorvan fleet was indeed assembling. Hundreds of ships, heavily armed, moved toward the human colonies. Many in the Council had predicted that humans would be destroyed easily. They underestimated the humans' ability to turn disadvantage into opportunity. Captain Alara called a meeting with her top officers. We cannot fight them head-on. Our numbers are smaller, but our tactics can be smarter. We will use the terrain, the asteroid fields, and our ship's speed to our advantage. Lieutenant Ryland spoke up. We've been studying their fleet patterns. If we can predict their movements, we can set traps and ambushes. They rely too much on brute force. They'll underestimate our adaptability. Alara nodded. Exactly. Humans survive because we think differently. We solve problems when others see only obstacles. It's time we show them why we are resilient. The first encounter came sooner than expected. A Glorvan strike team descended on a mining colony on Epsilon 9, a harsh desert planet. Humans were outnumbered, but they had prepared. Automated defenses activated, covering the landing zone with plasma turrets and electromagnetic shields. But humans did not rely only on machines. Teams of engineers and soldiers, including Captain Alara's trusted officers, used the terrain to their advantage. They lured enemy squads into narrow canyons, where the Glorvan's larger ships could not maneuver effectively. Small, fast human fighters struck from unexpected angles, disabling enemy vessels with precise strikes. Amid the chaos, a young human engineer named Mira Santos devised a clever tactic. Using a combination of drones and holographic decoys, she created the illusion of a larger human fleet. Glorvan ships, believing they faced overwhelming numbers, hesitated, giving humans time to regroup and counterattack. By the end of the skirmish, the humans had not only defended the colony, but also captured valuable enemy data. The Glorvan were stunned. A species they had considered weak and insignificant had outsmarted them. Word of the victory spread quickly. Humans were no longer seen as harmless explorers. Their resilience, creativity, and teamwork earned the attention of other alien civilizations, some curious, some wary, and some openly fearful. Meanwhile, Captain Alara and her team analyzed the captured data. They discovered information about Glorvan tactics, communication codes, and fleet weaknesses. Humans would use this knowledge not for revenge, but to prevent further conflict and protect future colonies. Humans don't just fight to survive, Alara said, addressing her officers. We fight to protect, to learn, and to build. That is why we will never be defeated easily. At the same time, a group of human scientists on Aurora 7 made another breakthrough. Using the crystal discovered in Part 1, they developed a new form of energy generator that was compact, efficient, and incredibly powerful. It could power colonies for decades without refueling. This technological leap further increased humans' ability to survive in hostile environments and drew more attention from other species. Some alien observers, hidden in distant star systems, began to take note. They realized that humans were not merely lucky or primitive. They were clever, resilient, and adaptable in ways no one had predicted. They survived and thrived where others failed, turning disadvantages into opportunities. Back on Horizon Station, Captain Alara received another communication, this time from a species called the Luminari, a peaceful race known for their diplomacy and wisdom. We have been watching your actions, said the Luminari ambassador. Your ingenuity and courage are remarkable. We would like to offer support and share knowledge that may help you defend your colonies. Alara smiled. We welcome allies not just for ourselves but for anyone who values peace and progress. The arrival of the Luminary Alliance marked a turning point. Humans were no longer isolated. They were beginning to form bonds with other species that recognized their potential. The galaxy, which had dismissed them as insignificant, was slowly realizing that humans were capable of much more than anyone imagined. Despite these successes, humans remained cautious. They knew that not all species would welcome them. Some would attempt to dominate, suppress, or even destroy them. But humans had learned a critical lesson from their home planet. Survival depended on courage, creativity, and unity. In the council chambers far away, Counselor Thryn watched the reports with a mix of satisfaction and concern. He had warned the council, yet most members had ignored him. Now humans were proving his point, quietly demonstrating their resilience across the galaxy. Other council members, still skeptical, debated whether humans should be contained. Some argued that humans were growing too fast and must be restricted. Others began to worry that their dismissive attitude could backfire. Thryn, however, knew the truth. Humans could not be controlled by fear, threats, or force. They thrived on challenges, turning adversity into opportunity. Ignoring them had already set the stage for consequences far beyond what the Council had imagined. On Epsilon 9, Captain Alara stood with her team, looking at the desert horizon. The battle had been won, but the war for survival and respect was only beginning. Humans were ready, not just to defend themselves, but to explore, build, and inspire. Humans will not be underestimated, Alara said, her eyes reflecting the twin suns of Epsilon 9. Not now, not ever. The first signs of resistance were clear. Other species would attempt to challenge humans, thinking they could easily be subdued. But humans were more than just survivors. They were innovators, leaders, and defenders. And the galaxy was about to learn in the most vivid way that humans were a force unlike any other. As the stars stretched endlessly above, humans prepared for the future. They repaired ships, trained new officers, and shared knowledge. Every challenge, every skirmish made them stronger, smarter, and more united. And somewhere in the darkness, distant eyes watched, recording, analyzing, and for the first time, questioning the assumption that humans were weak. Humans had survived skirmishes, outsmarted local threats, and slowly built a reputation that spread across nearby star systems. Yet nothing could have fully prepared them for what came next. A coordinated attack by a coalition of alien factions determined to crush humanity before it could rise further. Captain Alara. Quinn stood on the bridge of the horizon, the flagship of the human fleet. Her eyes scanned the holographic displays, showing hundreds of enemy vessels approaching from multiple directions. These were not simple patrol ships or small raiding parties. This was a fleet designed to overwhelm, a coalition of species that had once believed humans could be easily ignored. Lieutenant Ryland stepped forward, his brow furrowed. Captain, the coalition fleet is larger than we expected. They outnumber us at least 5 to 1. Their formation is aggressive and coordinated. Hilara's gaze remained steady. Then we will not fight them the way they expect. Humans survive because we see possibilities where others see only limits. This is our chance to prove that. The enemy fleet's first wave struck at the outer colonies of Aurora 7 and Epsilon 9 simultaneously. Automated defenses activated instantly, creating a barrier of plasma and energy shields. Human ships launched in small, agile squads using the terrain, asteroid fields, and sudden maneuvers to their advantage. Despite being outnumbered, humans fought with coordination and ingenuity. They anticipated enemy movements, exploiting weaknesses in formation and communication. Alien ships built for strength and speed were not designed to face opponents who used the environment as a weapon and innovation as a strategy. On Aurora 7, a young engineer named Mira Santos once again played a critical role. She had devised a network of mobile energy drones that could act as decoys, project false signals, and even disable enemy ships' shields temporarily. With careful timing, humans lured a group of enemy vessels into a narrow canyon where the drones and the landscape combined to neutralize nearly a third of the fleet. Back on Horizon, Captain Alara monitored multiple battle zones simultaneously. Human ships struck unpredictably, vanishing and reappearing in ways the Coalition could not anticipate. Communication lines were jammed by human engineers, forcing enemy commanders to make blind decisions. "Sir, They've underestimated our adaptability, Ryland said. Every time they think they've trapped us, we turn it into an advantage. They are losing coordination, Ilara nodded. This is human ingenuity. Every challenge is an opportunity, and every disadvantage can become strength. Keep pushing. Do not let them intimidate us. Even as battles raged, humans remained committed to protecting civilians and colonies. Evacuation ships moved quickly through danger zones, guided by human navigators who memorized every twist and turn of asteroid fields and energy barriers. They used advanced shields to cover transport vessels, often risking their own lives to ensure civilian safety. Meanwhile, alien fleets were forced to reconsider their initial confidence. A coalition that expected an easy victory found itself struggling against a species they had dismissed as weak. Reports of human successes spread rapidly among enemy commanders. One admiral, Tharok of the Zealth, admitted privately, "These humans are unlike any species we've faced. They are clever, adaptable, and fearless. We may have underestimated them." The human fleet, despite being smaller, continued to push forward. Using captured intelligence from previous skirmishes, they predicted enemy maneuvers and set traps. Ships like the Horizon coordinated attacks across multiple fronts, striking where enemies were vulnerable and retreating before they could be countered. During one critical battle, Captain Ilara personally led a squadron to defend a human research colony under siege. The enemy deployed a massive energy cannon capable of obliterating the colony in minutes. Ilara and her team calculated the trajectory, using small fighters and energy shields to redirect the cannon's fire into deep space, sparing the colony. "Captain," Ryland shouted over comms, "you've just saved thousands of lives." "The enemy didn't see that coming," Ilara smiled grimly. "That's what humans do. We survive, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is our strength." Meanwhile, on Epsilon 9, Mira Santos discovered another advantage. The unique energy crystals humans had found earlier could amplify defensive shields when deployed strategically. Using a network of small mobile generators, the humans created energy barriers that turned entire valleys into near-impenetrable fortresses. Enemy fleets found themselves trapped in zones where human firepower dominated. By the third day of battle, the coalition was forced to retreat from several key zones. Losses were higher than they had ever expected. Alien commanders began sending reports to the Galactic Council, warning that humans were not only defending their colonies, they were defeating superior forces with clever tactics. Back at Horizon Station, Captain Ilara gathered her officers. The galaxy believed humans could be dismissed. They were wrong. Every move we make, every decision proves that. We are not just survivors. We are leaders, innovators, and defenders. And the galaxy is starting to notice. The news reached sympathetic alien species across nearby sectors. Some species, previously oppressed or ignored, began reaching out to humans. They offered intelligence, trade agreements, and support in defending colonies. For the first time, humans were no longer isolated. Their reputation as capable and resourceful beings began to spread. Counselor Thryn, who had warned the Galactic Council months earlier, watched the battle reports with quiet satisfaction. Humans were proving his point in the most undeniable way. The council members who had dismissed him were now scrambling to understand the implications. The warnings ignored months ago were becoming impossible to ignore. Back on the battlefield, humans faced yet another test. A massive warship nearly twice the size of Horizon emerged from a nearby asteroid field. Its shields were powerful, and its weapon systems capable of destroying entire colonies. Most alien fleets would have retreated in fear, but humans saw an opportunity. Captain Ilara devised a daring plan. Using smaller, faster ships, they lured the warship through a dense asteroid belt. Human engineers had secretly modified drones to navigate and manipulate asteroid paths. As the warship followed, it became trapped among shifting rocks, its massive weapons unable to target effectively. A concentrated strike from human fighters disabled its engines, forcing it to retreat. The victory was not just tactical, it sent a message. Humans could overcome even the most formidable threats through intelligence, innovation, and courage. News of the humans' victories spread quickly across the galaxy. For the first time, the once dismissive council members began to see humans in a new light. They were no longer a small, weak species to ignore. They were resourceful, relentless, and unpredictable. Even the remaining members of the coalition began to question their assumptions. Humans were not just defending themselves. They were shaping the battlefield, forcing even powerful fleets to react to human strategies. Every engagement was a lesson in resilience and adaptability. Captain Alara, standing once more on the bridge of Horizon, looked at the stars. "We are not just surviving," she said to her officers. "We are proving that humans belong here. The galaxy may try to underestimate us, but we will show them why we are remarkable." As the dust settled and colonies stabilized, humans repaired ships, reinforced defenses, and prepared for future challenges. Their victories had earned respect, but they remained vigilant. The galaxy was vast, and not all species would welcome their rise. Yet for the first time, humans knew something important. Strength alone was not enough. It was their ingenuity, courage, and unity that made them formidable. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious, proving that no one could dismiss them so easily. And somewhere far beyond the known sectors, alien eyes watched the humans' successes. The coalition that had once expected easy victories now realized the truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. Their resilience, creativity, and resourcefulness would soon challenge the assumptions of the entire galaxy. The galaxy was changing. Once dismissed humans were no longer just survivors. They had become leaders, innovators, and protectors. News of their victories against overwhelming alien forces spread quickly, shaking the confidence of many species. Even the once dismissive members of the Galactic Council were forced to take notice. On Horizon Station, Captain Ilara Quinn reviewed reports from multiple human colonies. Trade routes were expanding, research stations were flourishing, and diplomatic messages from other species were increasing daily. Humans were no longer isolated explorers. They were becoming a central force in the galaxy. Lieutenant Rylan pointed to a star map hologram. "Captain, we've received messages from the Luminari and the Caliph. They want to join an alliance. They've seen what we can do, and they trust humans to help maintain peace in this region." Ilara smiled. "This is what humans do. We don't conquer. We cooperate. We don't intimidate. We inspire. Prepare a response. We will meet with them." Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was holding an emergency session. Reports of human victories and diplomacy reached the chamber in waves. Councillor Thryn, who had warned them about humans months ago, addressed the assembly once again. "The humans are no longer a small species to dismiss," Thryn said, his voice steady and commanding. "They are capable of defending themselves, leading, and uniting others. Their ingenuity and resilience have proven that ignoring them was a mistake." Councillor Virek, who had once scoffed at Thryn's warnings, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "But they are still young. Their technology is advancing rapidly, yes, but surely they cannot match the combined might of the galaxy's fleets." Thryn shook his head. "It is not raw power that makes humans formidable. It is their ability to adapt, cooperate, and innovate under pressure. Do not underestimate them again." Back in human space, preparations for interstellar diplomacy were underway. The Luminary and Caliph envoys arrived at Horizon Station, their ships gliding silently into docking bays. Humans greeted them with respect and curiosity, eager to learn about their cultures and technology. Ilara led the meeting with careful words. "We appreciate your willingness to cooperate. Humans believe that progress comes through unity, knowledge, and protection. We do not seek domination, but we do seek to build a galaxy where life can thrive." The envoys were impressed. They had seen humans fight against impossible odds, defend colonies, and inspire smaller species. Humans did not rely solely on strength. They relied on creativity, courage, and strategy. It was a combination unlike any other. The alliance grew quickly. Humans shared knowledge, technology, and strategies with their new partners. Together, they fortified colonies, improved trade routes, and coordinated defenses against hostile forces. The galaxy's landscape began to shift. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were becoming a force of stability and innovation. Even the remaining alien factions that had resisted humans began to see the truth. Attacks were less frequent, as the coalition realized that humans were not merely fighters, they were thinkers, problem solvers, and collaborators. Every failed attempt to intimidate humans only strengthened their reputation. Captain Ilara watched as young human engineers demonstrated new energy shields and defensive systems for the Allied envoys. "Humans do not give up," she explained. We do not see obstacles as permanent. Every challenge is a chance to learn, adapt, and grow, Lieutenant Rylan added. That is why humans survive when others would fail. Our enemies underestimate us because they focus only on numbers or technology. They forget one thing: humans are unpredictable and we never stop thinking. As the human allied fleet expanded, a new opportunity arose. Reports reached Horizon Station about a series of unstable planets in a neighboring sector. Their energy fields were chaotic, making them dangerous and uninhabitable for most species. Yet humans saw potential. These planets could be turned into thriving colonies, research hubs, or safe trade stations if approached with care and ingenuity. Ilara convened her team. These planets may seem dangerous, but humans do not shy away from challenges. We will study them, understand them, and adapt our technology to survive there. What others see as impossible, we see as opportunity. Teams of scientists and engineers were dispatched to explore the unstable planets. Using a combination of energy shields, adaptive life support systems, and innovative drones, humans began to tame the harsh environments. The first colonies were established, and for the first time, humans showed that no planet was too difficult to inhabit. Word of these accomplishments reached the Galactic Council again. Some members were astonished. Humans were not only surviving, they were transforming dangerous worlds into thriving colonies, creating safe spaces for trade and exploration where other species had failed. Counselor Thryn addressed the chamber once more. The humans are not merely strong, they are resilient, clever, and cooperative. They turn adversity into opportunity. Those who continue to ignore or dismiss them will find themselves at a disadvantage in the galaxy's future. Some council members, previously dismissive, began reconsidering their approach. They realized that humans could no longer be ignored, contained, or dismissed. Their potential influence was growing rapidly, and their innovative strategies and alliances were reshaping regional politics. Back in human space, a new challenge appeared. Reports of a pirate coalition attempting to dominate the trade routes reached Horizon Station. These pirates, opportunistic and aggressive, believed that humans could be intimidated. They did not understand that humans had changed. They were not just survivors. They were leaders, defenders, and strategists. Captain Ilara assembled the fleet. The pirates believe we will yield to force, she said. They are wrong. We will defend the trade routes, protect the colonies, and show that humans are not to be underestimated. The fleet moved swiftly. Humans used clever tactics, drawing the pirates into asteroid fields, using decoy ships, and striking with precision where the pirates were weakest. Within days, the pirate threat was neutralized. Ships were captured or disabled, and trade routes were secured. For the first time, many species observed humans not only defending themselves, but actively protecting others. Human colonies became safe havens. Trade networks flourished, and smaller species began looking to humans for leadership and protection. At Horizon Station, Ilara addressed her officers. This is why humans are remarkable, she said. We do not seek domination. We do not rely only on strength. We solve problems, protect life, and inspire others to rise with us. That is why we are changing the galaxy. In response, allied species began offering resources, knowledge, and technology to human colonies. Together, they created a network of safe systems, research hubs, and trade routes. Humans' reputation as problem solvers and leaders spread across the stars. Meanwhile, within the Galactic Council, tensions rose. Some members feared that humans' growing influence could challenge their authority. Others realized that humans were the key to maintaining peace and stability in chaotic regions. Debates intensified over whether humans should be engaged diplomatically, restricted, or acknowledged as equals. Counselor Thryn continued to advocate for humans. The galaxy must recognize that humans are unique. They adapt, endure, and inspire. Any attempt to control or suppress them will fail. Those who ignore their potential do so at their own risk. Back in human space, Captain Ilara received a message from the Galactic Council itself. For the first time, humans were invited to participate as official delegates in council discussions. They were no longer outsiders. Their victories, ingenuity, and alliances had earned them a place among the galaxy's decision-makers. Ilara stood before her officers, pride shining in her eyes. This is a turning point. The Council has seen what humans can do. They can no longer dismiss us. We have survived, we have thrived, and now we will help shape the galaxy's future. Remember, we are humans. We adapt, we endure, we innovate, and we will never be underestimated. As humans prepared to journey to the council chambers, the galaxy watched. Former enemies began reconsidering their positions, potential allies approached with hope, and the galaxy slowly acknowledged a truth that could no longer be ignored. Humans were extraordinary. The turning point had arrived. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were leaders, innovators, and symbols of resilience and courage. Their victories had proven that ignoring humans was a mistake. Their alliances' ingenuity and protective nature were changing the political and cultural landscape of the galaxy. And somewhere far beyond human space, those who had once mocked or dismissed humans were watching, realizing that the consequences of underestimating them were beginning to unfold. Captain Alara looked out at the stars from Horizon Station's observation deck. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges and opportunities. Humans had proven that they could meet any challenge with creativity, courage, and determination. "We are not just explorers," she said softly. "We are humans, and the galaxy will remember that." The galaxy had changed. Humans were no longer a small, unnoticed species. Their ingenuity, courage, and resilience had reshaped entire star systems. Colonies thrived where others had failed. Trade networks expanded under human guidance, and alliances with other species strengthened their position. Yet with growth came new challenges. Not all civilizations welcomed humans' rise. Some still feared their influence, while others sought to test their strength and resolve. Captain Ilara Quinn stood on the bridge of the flagship Horizon, surrounded by her trusted officers. Reports had arrived of an ambitious coalition seeking to challenge humans directly. A coalition formed from factions that had once underestimated them. Hundreds of warships moved toward the human colonies with the intention of imposing control. "Captain," Lieutenant Ryland said, scanning the fleet movements, "they've brought everything they've got. This isn't just a test, it's an attempt to end human expansion before it begins." Ilara nodded. "They've learned nothing from the battles before. Humans survive because we see opportunity where others see obstacles. Today we will show them why we cannot be controlled or ignored." For days, the coalition launched attacks on multiple fronts. Their fleets attempted to overwhelm human colonies with sheer numbers and firepower. Yet humans, as always, fought differently. They used intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. On Aurora 7, human engineers had prepared contingency defenses. Energy shields, powered by the unique crystals discovered years earlier, formed impenetrable barriers around key colonies. Automated drones acted as decoys and saboteurs, confusing enemy formations. Human fighters, small and fast, struck unpredictably, targeting enemy engines and communication systems. During one intense engagement, a massive alien battleship attempted to destroy a human colony's main energy core. Captain Ilara personally coordinated a strike team of human pilots to intercept it. Using narrow asteroid fields, sudden maneuvers, and tactical diversions, they disabled the ship's main engines and forced it to retreat. "Humans don't fight like anyone else," Ryland said, amazement in his voice. "We think, adapt, and surprise. That's why they cannot defeat us." Even more impressive were humans' efforts to protect civilians and smaller species during the battles. Evacuations were carried out with precision, supply lines were maintained, and trade routes remained open. While the coalition focused on destruction, humans focused on survival, innovation, and protection. Meanwhile, allied species joined the fight. The Luminary provided advanced sensor technology, helping humans anticipate enemy movements. The Caliph contributed defensive formations and additional ships. Together, humans and their allies created a network of strength, strategy, and protection unmatched in the galaxy. As the battles raged, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Reports of human victories and the Coalition's failures were impossible to ignore. Council members who had once dismissed humans now debated whether their warnings had come too late. Councillor Thrin addressed the assembly with quiet authority. "I warned you," he said. "Humans are not weak, reckless, or insignificant. They are adaptable, intelligent, and resilient. Every attempt to control or suppress them has failed. The consequences of ignoring them are now fully visible." Some council members murmured in agreement, while others fumed in frustration. They had underestimated humans for centuries, believing that their small size and youth made them irrelevant. Yet humans had proven that strength alone did not define power. Creativity, courage, and unity did. Back in human space, A final battle loomed. The coalition had concentrated its forces for one decisive strike, hoping to overwhelm the humans and their allies. Captain Alara gathered her officers for a final briefing. "This is it," she said. "They believe they can end us with fear and force. They are wrong. Humans do not surrender to numbers or power. We survive because we adapt, we innovate, and we fight for what is right. Today we will defend our colonies, protect our allies, and show the galaxy what humans are capable of." The engagement was massive. Starships clashed in breathtaking displays of strategy and skill. Humans used every tactic at their disposal. Diversionary attacks, energy shield amplifiers, precise strikes against enemy engines, and careful coordination with allied fleets. The coalition's confidence faltered as their forces were systematically neutralized. During the battle, a young human pilot, Cale Vance, devised a daring tactic. He used a network of drones to create illusions of massive human fleets where none existed, forcing the coalition to scatter and overextend. This maneuver allowed humans to disable several key enemy warships without direct confrontation. As the battle drew to a close, the coalition was defeated. Their ships retreated, battered and demoralized. The humans had not only survived, they had demonstrated that their ingenuity, courage, and unity made them nearly impossible to overcome. Captain Alara stood on Horizon's bridge, gazing at the remnants of the battle. "This is the result of underestimating humans," she said quietly. "We do not fight with fear. We fight with purpose, intelligence, and determination. That is our strength." The aftermath of the conflict left humans firmly established across multiple star systems. Colonies were thriving, trade networks were secure, and alliances with other species had strengthened. Humans had proven that they were more than just survivors. They were leaders, innovators, and protectors. The Galactic Council, finally acknowledging the truth, invited humans to participate as official delegates. Captain Alara and her team arrived at the council chambers with humility and determination, ready to contribute to galactic governance. Humans were no longer outsiders. They were a recognized power, respected for their ingenuity, courage, and unwavering commitment to progress and protection. Councillor Thrin spoke to the assembly one final time. "Humans have shown the galaxy that true strength is not measured only in weapons or numbers. It is measured in resilience, intelligence, and the ability to unite for a greater good. Ignoring them was a mistake. Recognizing and working with them is the path forward." Even former skeptics nodded. The lessons were undeniable. Humans had transformed from a minor species into a force that could not be ignored. They had survived impossible odds, protected the weak, and inspired others to rise alongside them. Captain Alara returned to Horizon Station, reflecting on humanity's journey. From their humble beginnings on Earth to thriving colonies across the stars, humans had never lost their spirit. They had faced adversity, outsmarted larger foes, and forged alliances built on trust and cooperation. "You see, humans are remarkable," she told her officers. "Not because we are the strongest, but because we never give up. We adapt, we create, we protect, and the galaxy will remember that." As the sun rose over Aurora 7, casting warm light over bustling colonies, humans continued their work. Children played in safe zones, scientists explored new technologies, and explorers prepared for journeys to the unknown. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Ignoring humans came with consequences, and underestimating them was a mistake no one would repeat. In the years that followed, humans continued to expand, innovate, and inspire. They remained protectors of their colonies, allies to those who needed support, and pioneers of exploration. Other species began to emulate their resilience, ingenuity, and cooperative spirit. The humans' legacy became a beacon of hope and inspiration across the galaxy, and somewhere far beyond, those who had once mocked, dismissed, or feared humans watched quietly, realizing that the consequences of their underestimation had already reshaped the galaxy forever. Captain Alara, standing on the observation deck of Horizon Station, gazed at the stars. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "We are humans. We endure, we innovate, we protect, and we will never be forgotten." The galaxy, once dismissive, now recognized humans as a force unlike any other. The warnings ignored had become lessons learned. The consequences were clear, and the legacy of humans had begun. A legacy defined by courage, ingenuity, and the ability to rise against impossible odds. Humans had proven without question that they were a species capable of facing the vast unknown and shaping the future. And as new stars were explored and new challenges approached, humans remained ready, resilient, clever, and unstoppable. The consequences of ignoring them had been devastating for those who tried, but for humans the results were clear. They were now a central, respected and unyielding force in the galaxy.